It's never too late to go vegan again if it's calling you. Mistakes are all part of the learning process. Just keep going. My path to veganism was anything but a straight line. Veganism is not about health and purity. It's about reducing animal suffering as much as is practical and possible. So to give you some ideas to help kickstart maybe why you fell off the wagon, I will tell you why I did. Hey everyone, welcome back to Damn Tasty Vegan. It's your friend Maria Rose, and I am a vegan failure. At least that's what I used to tell myself. You see, I was vegan for 2 years and then I fell off the wagon, not because of some health reason, but because old habits really do die hard. Well, I should say a lifetime of conditioning really does die hard. So it took me about 4 years of trying again, failing, until I finally got it to stick. And I have been a happy, healthy, satisfied vegan since 2015 now. So because of this, I have a lot of tips to share with you if you are also an ex-vegan that is interested in going vegan again. You know, I've read that somewhere between 30% of people who are ex-vegans actually want to go vegan again, and I don't see any videos like this. So I hope that this video helps you to become vegan again if you've fallen off the wagon and you really want to get back on this lifestyle. Making mistakes, fucking up is all part of the learning process. Like I said, we're undoing a lifetime of conditioning. So don't feel bad and then let that guilt and negativity keep you away from being vegan. Let it teach you and help you to do better and learn from it and move on. So my first tip for you is that it is all about the way you frame it in your mind. Changing your lifestyle, changing your diet is extremely hard. And if you frame it around these limiting beliefs that society tells you about veganism, then you're gonna find it so hard to make it stick. The meat and dairy industry makes billions of dollars off of the idea that meat is normal, natural, and necessary. So you better bet your ass that they are invested in this message and that they are going to spread it as much as they possibly can. You're going against a lifetime of industry-funded messages, so it's going to take some work reframing the way that you see veganism in your mind. When people fail at staying vegan, including myself, it's usually because your mind is framed around limiting thoughts like this that society reinforces. I won't ever be able to give up cheese. I'll miss my favorite foods. Social events will be hard. My family will be mad. Vegan food isn't good. There aren't any options where I live. Veganism is too expensive. Maybe the keto, low-carb Atkins people are right and I can't get protein from plants. When you start to change the way that you frame your thoughts, you will easily find solutions to these problems when you frame your mind right. So to get veganism to stick, what I did was I framed my thoughts around the victims. I framed my thoughts around the horrible, absolutely gut-wrenching pain and suffering that we put through animals just for our taste buds. I think about the animals that feel pain, that love their family, that make friends, and they just want to live and be left alone. I also think about the devastation that the meat and dairy industry does to the planet, and every single time I buy an animal product, I am funding that pain and suffering, and I am funding that planetary destruction. So when I frame it in my mind in that way, then I can easily find solutions to these temporary discomforts. And in the beginning, it takes time to relearn new habits, but once you learn these new habits and you learn the tricks of the trade, then it becomes second nature, just like it did eating animal products. So start first by putting on your vegan glasses. Focus on the victims and you will easily find solutions where you hadn't before. So I've traveled all over the United States as well as internationally, and I have been able to find vegan options in countries and cities that people said there were no vegan options. Now, I was able to do this because I framed my thoughts around the victims, and that helped me to put my vegan glasses on, and it helped me to see vegan options where people normally might not have seen them. We are highly social creatures, and going against the grain of society can wear people down after a while. And I believe this is the reason why most people stop going vegan. And it might manifest itself in some other excuse, but I think at the core of it, this is the reason. My second tip is to reinforce your vegan ethics every once in a while by watching documentaries, reading a book, and most importantly, follow vegan activists on YouTube. Some of my favorites are Earthling Ed, That Vegan Couple, Those Annoying Vegans, James Aspie, and many more. I will link them below. Follow them on YouTube, follow them on Instagram, stay inspired, stay connected, because someone's life is literally on the line. I don't necessarily buy into the belief that ex-vegans were never vegan for every single situation. Because what I think happens most of the time, which is what happened for me and happens for a lot of people, is that you neglect keeping connected to the ethics of veganism. We are social creatures, and whatever is happening around us over time is going to affect us. It's going to affect the way that we think. So if we never reinforce our ethics, we're going to eventually fall back into that mindset if we don't counter it with staying connected to ethics. So instead of writing someone off as they were never vegan, I don't think that's really helpful in getting people to come back to veganism, because then they'll just like put their hands up and be like, well, guess I was never vegan, so fuck it. Whereas if you come at it from the mindset of social pressures slowly started to get to me and change my mindset, that's something you have control of and that you can change and that you can be aware of. So there's a hell of a lot of force going against veganism in society. Just look at the way that whenever it's brought up in movies or TV shows, how it's always a joke. All of the commercials and ads, billboards that you see multiple times a day, you see your friends and family eating it, that can start to slowly wear on you. So it's super important that if you want to go vegan again, to once in a while watch another documentary, read a book, follow vegan activists on YouTube. So inspiring. And stay connected to your ethics. The ethics are the key to staying vegan long term. Make it about more than just yourself. You've literally got someone else's life on the line. A really good book to read is called The Joyful Vegan. Colleen Patrick Goudreau is a 20-year vegan, and she wrote this book interviewing and talking to ex-vegans. And she said the number one reason mostly was societal pressures. It's written in a really positive way, but it'll definitely kick your ass too. But it'll definitely make you look at the excuses that you've been giving and help you to change them. Number 3, find out why you fell off. If you know the reasons behind falling off, then you can prepare yourself next time and change these situations. It also turns you away from this mindset that you're a bad person, that you mess up, that you're a failure. That doesn't feel good. That's not going to inspire you to change. So mistakes and messing up are all part of the learning process. My path to veganism was anything but a straight line. So really sit down and find out why you fell off the wagon. Be honest with yourself. So to give you some ideas to help kickstart maybe why you fell off the wagon, I will tell you why I did. I began focusing too much on health, purity, and weight loss. I did cleanses and restricted my diet too much. I never really ate any vegan junk food, bread, or meat alternatives. I was under eating, and this led to cravings and lack of willpower. I moved in with my boyfriend's parents who were Swiss. They had stinky cheese, which used to be my really favorite, in abundance in their fridge. Combine that with my lack of willpower from under eating, and I tried the cheese and I started eating it again. It was really hard for me to stop once I messed up. It kind of snowballed and I went back to being vegetarian. I was an isolated vegan. I wasn't part of any online or in-person vegan community. I constantly heard, just eat some cheese, it won't kill you. The belief that eating eggs and cheese was normal was reinforced through the everyday brainwashing all around me. I didn't reinforce my ethics after I went vegan. I didn't supplement. And on a side note, it's not just vegans that run the risk of deficiency. Half the population is deficient in B12 and D3. So it's not just a vegan issue, it's a soil depletion issue. And cows are supplemented B12 in their feed, so meat eaters are supplementing with B12 anyway. I wasn't in a good place in my life, and this made me mentally exhausted. I was struggling with mental depression at this time. I didn't want one more thing to think about. I suddenly had a fuck it attitude and began eating eggs and dairy again because I was tired of thinking about it. I was coping with life and my mental illness by binge drinking, which worsened my mental state and willpower. Now that I know there were certain circumstances, mindsets, habits that led to me falling off the wagon, I now have it in my power to change those situations, mindsets, habits. That feels a lot more empowering than just telling myself that I'm a bad person and that I'm a failure, because those things are actionable things that I can actually do. Now I'm going to end off with how I went vegan again after falling off the wagon. Hopefully these tips can help you. I relearned why dairy and eggs are cruel. I watched those hard to watch videos. Dominion on YouTube, Earthlings on YouTube. If you really want to go vegan and stay vegan, watch that. It's not easy to watch. You know, it's the truth of we are supporting this cruelty with our dollars by buying those things, and I think everybody needs to know this because the industry tries very, very hard to hide those truths from us. There are such things as ag-gag laws where it's illegal to film in slaughterhouses and factory farms. There was just a law passed in Canada where you can't even record or protest outside of a slaughterhouse. So the industry is trying very hard to keep this from people because they know once they learn that they won't want to support it anymore. And just a side note, there's no such thing as humane meat. These animals are still babies when they're slaughtered. All of them still go to the same slaughterhouse and they don't want to die, which really doesn't help the animals at all. It just makes people feel better. I now reinforce my ethics regularly with books, YouTube videos, and following vegan activists. I stay educated about vegan health by following doctors like Dr. Michael Greger, and I learned how to discern misinformation thrown out by the meat and dairy industry. Some good books to read are How Not to Die. Follow Dr. Michael Greger on nutritionfacts.org. He reviews all of the scientific studies put out every year, and he looks at the way that they're done, looks if they're industry funded and skewed or not, and he has nothing invested in this. All of the money he makes from these videos, he donates to charity. So it's good to follow doctors like that aren't in it for the money, that are really just in it for helping people and in understanding the science of nutrition. I will also link some other plant-based doctors below. There's way too much misinformation about nutrition out there. A lot of people use that as an excuse to not be vegan, so you need to stay educated about the basics of vegan nutrition. It's not very complicated once you learn the basics. I joined the vegan community by going to vegan meetups and joining vegan Facebook groups and YouTube. I stopped being afraid to ask for vegan options at restaurants. That's something you really got to practice and learn. I'm going to make a separate video on how I order vegan food at restaurants, how I've been able to find vegan options wherever I've traveled to. I will post that below once I make that video. I looked for recipes that made me excited about veganism again. I quit drinking. This doesn't have anything to do with veganism. It just messed with my willpower and my mental well-being, and it made me just not care about anything really anymore. That personally helped me to go vegan again. Might not affect you at all. It's just something I did. I take care of my mental health with exercising regularly, journaling, and I work toward creating a life that I love. It's a process for sure. I focused on a balanced vegan diet with lots of beans and whole foods and occasional junk foods. I stopped obsessing with purity and weight loss, and I don't fuck with juice cleanses anymore. Veganism is not about health and purity, it's about reducing animal suffering as much as is practical and possible. Juice cleanses probably gonna make you fall off the wagon. I make sure to eat enough calories. When cravings hit, I find a vegan alternative. Even if it's junk foody, I will eat the vegan version of it rather than eating an animal. And I don't try to be pure and perfect in my diet. I try to be balanced and sane and eat junk foods once in a while when cravings hit. I learned the basics of vegan nutrition. It's not as complicated as you think. I supplement smartly, B12, iodine, vitamin D, and I make sure to get my omega-3s daily, whether it be via flaxseed, chia seed, walnuts, or a supplement. A side note, it's not just vegans that need to be aware of these deficiencies. Most everyone is deficient in these vitamins and minerals because of a soil depletion issue. So that's it for my tips for you. I hope this video re-inspired you to become vegan again, to not beat yourself up. Veganism is not about guilt, shame. It's about reducing animal suffering as much as is practical and possible, and that is a beautiful thing to be a part of. So work on changing the situations that you are in that may lead you to falling off the wagon. Reframe it in your mind. Surround yourself with good vegan messages from activists and documentaries and books and YouTube channels. Eat delicious vegan food, keep it balanced, keep it sane. Don't do any of the crazy juice cleanses, strict raw food, bullshit diets. Just keep it balanced and sane. Eat mostly whole foods and occasional junk foods when cravings hit. That's what keeps me vegan long term. Don't make veganism about purity, perfectionism, and weight loss. Find joy in living a vegan lifestyle because it is honestly the most compassionate and the best diet that we have for the planet at the moment. So that is a joyful, amazing thing to be a part of. Please leave me any questions you have below. I love talking about veganism, if we can't tell, and I love sharing all of the things that I've learned on my journey. It's never too late to go vegan again if it's calling you. Mistakes are all part of the learning process. Just keep going. All right, I will see you all very soon in the next video. Thanks for hanging out with me. Bye.